except I dulled all my bits, or I can't find the sharp ones, one or the other. So I'm working on a little project with that, tips and tricks. I'm doing something about drilling. Um, it's not a tip and trick on how to drill or what to drill or why to drill and all that. It's some things we woodturners or woodworkers or craftsmen do wrong about drilling wood sometimes. The device right back, oh, there it is over there. The device right back there, that drill press. It's got a 3-point quill handle on the other side. Can you imagine how much force pulling down my 185-pound body? Well, it's got another 100 on top of it, but pulling down on that lever and having that quill pop down right there, how much pressure is coming down on something when you're drilling? I mean, I love these 564 drill bits for doing kitless pens, but if I tried to drill a kitless pen on that drill press, and I use that 6" by 5/64 drill bit, 5/32, pardon me, and I put the bore down on that thing, I would twist that bit right through that lumber, right through it. It'll find a weak spot, right a fair shoulder, and come right up. Fine. This is much stronger than I would ever think. Well, the same thing happens when you're drilling with your tailstock. You turn that cute little handle on the back, and it just puts that bit in there. So if you have a semi-dull Forstner bit, and you chuck it up, and you can push a quill and twist it in, just because it's going in doesn't mean it's cutting. You could be tearing away, or burnishing away, or burning away the wood in front of you. Same thing if you had a twist drill in there, or Forstner bit, or. We have to, boy, I got to do something about that right now. Okay.
Eddie?
Yes.
You are getting some feedback and people are saying they hearing it. I don't know if you're aware of it. Okay.
I don't know if that's Eddie or not.
Eddie, it's not. It's Doug. For some reason, Doug's on a machine that he always is on, but for some reason he's getting cross-referenced. There's background noise coming through because as soon as it comes on, it's Doug's light that's coming on with me, and as soon as you mute him, it disappears. So, Doug, it's you tonight. No, we can't hear you.
I've been muted. So it can't be me.
It's definitely
you're not muted right now.
No, I just unmuted it. So
leave yourself unmuted.
Ronnie, I saw you jump up on your mic. It kept coming up and down too.
Hey, Doug's unmuted at the minute.
All right.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Okay. Members, you just got to realize that if you have a background track or a radio or TV or something going on and you're unmuted, we're hearing it. Now, you may not hear it, but we are hearing it. Especially if there's no other sound in the room, your electronic device is tweaking up to find that sound, tweaking up to find it. It's not like the old transistor radio days. If it's out there, this gizmo is going to find it. I was wondering last week with that why I have the rhythm going in my computer. Well, here's my rhythm right here. I bought this pretty little clock, and it is one noisy beast if it's hanging on the wall. So I have to hang it on a piece of quilt in front of my desk. Otherwise, it's, and if I'm not talking, the computer listens for it, goes for it. That's happening with you. So there's today's Electronics 101. Or 107, whichever one we get into. I was talking about drilling because I watched a really unique demonstration the other day. And it was a great demonstration because the guy didn't stop the camera. Sometimes you see a demonstration and say, how did they do that? Or he's attacking the wood and you see his chips flying all over the place, and he comes up with a really nice, smooth project. And you know, that didn't just happen. So this guy was hollowing out a block to make a jar, maybe 2.5, 3 inch, about a 3 inch maybe. And he had a nice Forstner bit in his tailstock and a really nice, must have been a one-way because it was a 3MT. And he had it locked down and all, and he pushed up against this block. It was a nice piece of wood. And he started to drill it, and as soon as he started to drill it, I was thinking, don't stop the camera. Don't stop it, because this is what's going to happen. Some shavings flew, and as he pushed it in, the less and less shavings came out, and more trash came out, which told me that the bit was not biting the way it's supposed to be biting. A couple of reasons. One could be just a piece of trash between a blade that's rotting on one side. But that blade, that Forstner bit, pulled a little bit to the top and burned up that piece of wood. I mean, that piece of wood just came apart. And when he stopped, you could see the blade of the Forstner was just destroyed. It was just, it hadn't been sharpened, touched up, cleaned up, or what? Probably not cleaned up forever. But his warning was, you can't drill this with a Forstner bit. That's not the right warning. The warning in that situation should have been, you can't drill this with a dull Forstner bit, and no matter what, you can drill a hole with a brick if you put enough pressure on it. And he had a brick, and he was just putting enough pressure on it the way he saw shavings coming off. And he'd seen this in demonstrations on YouTube all over the place, where people believe, turners believe, you can go in and take this Forstner bit, take the center out of the piece, and get a quick start on it. Yes, but the rule is only if that Forstner bit's never seen any other wood in its complete life, or it's been taken care of. Because if it's been on your drill press where you bore down on something to force a hole in for a cool cozy closer or whatever, and you conked it up and you got trash and burnings on it, you haven't cleaned them off, that's going to impact how that cutter is going to cut. I don't care how much pressure in the world you put on it. If it won't cut, it's going to destroy what you're working on. I don't want to see you lose wood. I don't see you throw it in the trash pile. It wouldn't be a right thing to do. So if you're drilling something, it's a word of caution. Think about the mechanics of what is happening when you drill. You want to drill a 3/8 inch hole in the end of something to start a bore? 3/8 bit, handle over your tool rest, find the center and work it in, pull it out. Work it in, pull it out. Can you do that? Sure you can. What about, you won't have any side torque. It's going to find to a hole and it's going to run. If the bit is sharp, it's going to run to the center of that hole. How much pressure? You're controlling it right here. And you will feel when it loads down because it will put some torque on your hand. So you load it, you unload it, you load it, you unload it, you load it. That's going to take a lot of time. Well, you a race or what? Come on. Think about the damage you will do to your material if you overload boring technique, just like tools. I mean, you can move anything with a dull tool.
And the other thing is sometimes they go way too fast, or most of the time, for the size of the bit it is.
Yeah, they're rushing it.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
Don't have to rush it.
Yeah.
I'm never been a fan of using the drill bit to replace my turning. Production. All right, I gotta honor people who do production, but you folks who do it for production, you turn this to production. If you're doing a 3-inch bowl or a 2.5-inch bowl and you want to take a Forstner and knock out a big chunk of it, you're not going to take the Forstner that you used to clean up the plumbing holes last week. No, you're going to have a good sharp blade and you're going to go in it, and that's going to be your bit. I say it when I turn ink pens. This drill bit sees nothing else. If I'm using it to do a hand drill on a pen, that drill bit sees nothing else except that material on my lathe at that time. Never metal, never in a drill press, never any other way. You production turners will have the same thing going on when you do borings before drilling. Unfortunately, we live in a world that people believe faster is always better. And they'll see a professional turner or a seasoned turner. I don't like the professional thing. Seasoned turner check up a force in a bit and drill something out, and it goes that fast, that easy. And they think, oh wait, I got some drill bits. I got those at Harber Freight last year. Yeah, they will look really nice too. And you don't have a time saver, you have a problem maker. So think about the mechanics of what's going on. A pilot hole works nice. What's great about forcings, they don't track so far. They will track. They will track. If they're not sharp, they will track. And when they start tracking, they start burning hard on the outside corner. Probably never at the bottom, because they can't slice it, they can't tear it away. So just 2 tips about turning and lathe, or in your shop. Because like I said, I can go to that drill press and make a 5/64 and come around outside of a 1-inch stick and nothing flat. It'll just find a sweet spot, and if I got enough pressure.
I got another thought on that.
Pardon?
Sorry, Eddie, I got another thought on that too. A lot of guys that learn turning on YouTube, a lot of those videos are speeded up to avoid the boredom factor of watching a slow, reasonably paced drill or sanding or whatever. So a lot of people that are learning wood turning off of YouTube might be seeing something sped up and not know it and think it's supposed to go that quick.
I like it when I see the guy come up and he takes a tool. I don't care what kind of tool it is. Takes a tool and he plows right into the wood. Then he just plows in, doesn't slice in. And then they stop the camera and they say, oh, look how nice it is. And it's smooth as a baby's butt. Come on. I even got a chuckle out of Kade over that one. I mean, come on, leave the lights on, leave the camera on, zoom in at the end and show me how much impact your C4 had on a piece of wood. Because that's how I feel about it. I mean, if you tear it out, it's gone. I watched a little piece of Mark Soleil's demo last week, which ran forever, I understand. I only saw a tidbit of it, but Mark's good. He can go on forever, and you'll pick up something all the way through the trip. But they showed a little something where Mark showed a little slicing detail, and he started off by just taking the spindle gouge and going straight in and putting a little hook on it, moving it. And then when he rolled it way up on a flute, way like this, and started a slicing cut and came in, he went from like a 80 grit sand to a 400 grit sand with that one pass. That was the difference of what he did to the wood. And this guy's zoomed in on his little iPod, and that's how I got it. He recorded because he said, I've heard him say it, I didn't believe it. That's when you get a piece of junk wood out. I go to my Ronnie Bonnet stockpile when something like that comes up. I go right to the stockpile, pull out a block of 2x4, and play with it. And tell you what, laugh about the 2x4. Ronnie got me on this 2-3 years ago. 2x4 is easy to find. It's not cheap. It's easy to find, great to work with, because if you don't have sharp tools, you're going to learn what sharp is all about. Amen. I'm turning those Freedom pens out of 2x4. And God looked at me crazy the other day. I was at Lowe's, and I'm looking through the 2x4. I picked good grain matches out of the 2x4. Have a selfie down the hall, sir. You can be right there. Who's up who's our demo tonight? Dane?
We have Scott Hampton, and he's going to do his take on birdhouses.
Scott on birdhouses.
Oh, yes.
Jeez. Hey everyone, hope all is well.
Hey Kade.
We're doing good. How are you doing?
Pretty good, thanks.
It's busy. Like springtime up there by you. Is it almost springtime in Canada?
Yeah, pretty spring-like. The other day was maybe 15 or 16 Celsius, so that's pretty nice. Shorts and t-shirt weather.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was good. Cash is loving it, getting him out on his car and out liking the sun and the wind, and so it's nice. Don't have to bundle them up so much anymore. Takes forever to bundle them up.
Then unbundle them when the bundling doesn't work out right. So they're fun this time of year, really. It's beautiful down there in Louisiana right now. I'm at 84 degrees with 56% relative humidity under partly cloudy skies. It'll rain in the on the horizon. It's a beautiful day. It's just a beautiful day. I sat out in the yard with the girls in the sunshine, soaking up some sun. And I tell you what, my two dogs just love it out there. It's that time of year, and they fighting all the dragons that come around. So I'm safe. Clubs. I see David is with us tonight. Dave Rose is our master webmaster. Dave, is our count on clubs still around 40?
Absolutely. I think it's 43 now.
43. And I know some good clubs do have members in here that I don't see their names up. I know 5 or 6 members of WWW that I know personally belong to a club. It's not listed yet. Come on, folks. This is your club. We want to know who they are and where they are. And it's to help us spread the word. It really is. I'm hopeful that we will get a program or can develop something where we can let all these clubs know that we're as active as they can be, and we're not something to be feared or copied or anything else. We can be used. That's right. Use us. We're free. If you've got a club event going on, you have a demonstration, you have a pay-per-view, you have a meeting, you have there's several symposiums put on in this country that are organized purely by club activities and groups of clubs, like SWAT, my favorite. If we can get all these clubs to understand this is an avenue, a venue, and we can all share information like this. I mean, I could go to the chat right now and look it up and see if Kade's got an IRD popped up, or we have a handful of guys that do that. And that information, Scott Hampton does them. And we had another one last week, that the Carver, can't remember names. But these folks produce IRDs. The way to find IRDs can be right here in our chat. Remember, the chat goes with our video each week. Now, our webmaster, our master webmaster, goes in and deletes parts of the chat that are not for our public knowledge. Sounds like a politician in the corner. We ask if you want to be on the contact list, you put your information in the chat. And then Dave takes the information out of the chat and puts it on the contact list. And then he puts the balance of the chat on the internet. See how we did that? We left the hole in there. We redacted it without the black marker. But so if you want to be on the contact list and have your information shared, put that in the chat. But say on the contact list, yada, 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 yada. No rules. It's all voluntary. It's just how we can find each other if we need each other. Or you can call a membership director. That's one way. We'll put his phone number on the bottom down here. But don't you laugh, Dane. I got your number, bud. Look, he would be up to no good right now, folks. He would be up to absolute no good if we let them in. But you want to be a membership director?
Why not?
We can give you the title. We can make you senior.
Throw it on there, right? Goes along with the pay raise, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I like the hat, membership hat. Look at that. I thought I heard Doug laugh at you just now.
I did.
Oh. Hanging on the back of the tailgate, folks, what we've been turning this week. I want to know what we've been turning. Come on.
Nothing for me.
Got something to show, put it in chat.
Yeah, we want to see it. We're going to go to Scott for Birdhouse at about 7 o'clock. A little bit before that, I got a 4 or 5 minute gallery video, and we have tips and tricks by Tom Kenney. We'll get all that in this evening, and a lot of gallery, but tips and tricks. We've had a few lately that I had a couple of calls or contacts lately. I've got this thing. I don't really know how to explain it. I love the one-on-one guys. Can you send somebody by to videotape it for me? Yeah, we'll get the crew B. Be right on our way. Pick up your cell phone. Do what you tell us you're going to do. Email us that video, and we'll see what we can work out with. We may have to edit, may have to put it into something to explain it. But what I'm looking for is, what did you come up with, or even better than that, what came up against you? I mean, a lot of us run into these problems every day, and they just think it's a problem we have to live with as wood turners. It's probably not a problem we have to live with. It's a situation that's upon us. So I'm turning these stick pins, no kits, out of 2x4. And yet I got all the finish on the other day, and I realized I was getting some cross lining. And I'll play with the not cross lapped it. That's Ronnie Bonnet was good to teach me about that. You get done sanding this way, cross lap it. Just same grit. I'm at 300, 320, same grit, cross grind it. Before I move the 4, when I get done the 4, cross grind it. And what I'm doing is removing the harmonic ridges that I've created right here. My fingers, my fingerprints, my pad, a piece of trash on the sandpaper where you're sanding at. A piece of 80 grit trash while you're doing 220 could still be stuck there. And you're moving across, you are bruising or burnishing that soft area below it. When do you see it? The minute you put the finish on. So I'm fighting this and fighting this. I was so frustrated yesterday. I was sitting there staring at it saying, what the hell went wrong? What went wrong was really simple. Dirt. I'd gotten so lazy as to have an air compressor and blowing things off between. I was moving a lot of dust away and cleaning off the pads and all. I don't have an air compressor to do that with in the shop. Not yet. It's coming. But I'm leaving trash on the wood, trash on the sandpaper, trash on any other thing. I'm having a trash problem. And what I'm not seeing is minuscule portions of harder material is on my abrasive pad or my sand pad or whatever. And I'm sanding with 320 with 80 grit rocks hiding in the mix. Do you get me? Okay. As I'm going across, and I'm bringing some heavier stuff into the mix, and I'm pushing it, and that's what's giving that bruising. So I went right to Ronnie's program. I lapped it with the 220, brushed it off, cross-lapped it, went to the 320, yeah, all the way up to 4. No bruising, no marking. Simple as a trash problem. But if you stop and thought, How am I bruising it? I've got something harder than when I'm turning, which is junky 2x4. Something harder than when I'm turning stuck to my abrasive. So I changed the coat of my abrasive. I'll lose some friends of the business over this. I don't buy hardware store sandpaper. No, I don't buy hardware store sandpaper. Only because my work is more valuable than that to me. So I can go down to the corner and buy me some sandpaper at the discount place, and it might be all right. But is it to the quality that I need or want, or honestly have to have? That's why I use the disc. Smaller pieces, more along what I'm going to do. To buy a whole 8.5 by 11 sheet of sandpaper that has something like an ink pen or a jewel box or something is really, really not so. All right, I see we got some gallery popping up. Dane, can we crank up a little gallery here?
Yeah, let me start pulling some folks up. Let's go to Norbert here. There he is. Hey, Norbert.
Good evening. Hi there, everybody. I have
Hello
a couple
there.
of pieces I'd like to show you. I don't know if the one that I had sent in with the photo, I don't know if you got it or not, but I'll show you the piece in person. It's a black walnut. I call it the copper connection. It's about
like
22 inches. The finial on it is copper, and it is soldered in the back, and it is finished with epoxy. I use a self-leveling epoxy. I still have a couple of coats to put on it. So there's the bottom. And so that's one piece. Then I have a piece of ash that I turned. This is stuff before we went to Florida. So we just came back from Florida. We're back in Indiana. This is a piece of ash. And again, it's 14, 16 inches. And it is done with acrylic paints. And then it's outlined with the wood burning tools. And then it's textured with wood burning tools. So you get an idea what the coloration looks like, including the top. Okay.
Very nice.
And a nice finial,
Very nice.
nice finial finish on top. So that's another one. And you know, guys, I do the chip carving. I do a lot of small boxes. And so this is a modified small box with a lid on it. There you go with that. And then the outside is the chip carving pattern on there.
That is excellent.
And that's the bottom side, okay?
Cool.
So this is basswood. All right. And one more out of basswood. If you guys have ever followed a fellow out of Germany, Reinhard Huff, he had done this on his video, and I thought, you know, I just cannot resist trying it. So I tried a lidded, large, okay, and it is then textured with carving tools and turning tools, but the perforations are done with carving tools. So that in all is a lidded, large lidded piece, obviously. So
Wow.
That's nice, Norm.
Beautiful
That
work,
is
Norbert.
nice.
That is
Thank you.
gorgeous.
Wow.
so that's my show for this evening.
That's
Wow.
quite a show.
Yeah.
Oh, and in the background, oh gosh, you have to show it. She'd see this.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Basket of illusion, 16 inches in diameter. And this is the back of the pattern.
whoa.
You see the hanging, so I can hang it up so it's out of the way. But that was my very first attempt at doing a illusional basket. So
Norbert,
this is maple.
How long did that one take you?
4 days. Everything is wood burned. You see the detail, and
Wow.
hold still here.
Wow.
So, and then I use a lot of black ink, India ink, to get the super black finish on it, so it looks like it's burned. And then I just follow it through. Once I have that area colored in with black, I just use the burning tip on a pyro and just touch up the edges so it looks like it had been burned. But the extra color comes from black India ink, and you can't get any more black than that. I don't
all of these pieces.
What's that?
All of these pieces that you have showed us, that's all of those pieces are gallery pieces.
Yeah, I have a bunch more, but you know, the thing is, it's difficult to get them into galleries up in this area in Indiana. People want paintings and ceramics and things. It's difficult to even sometimes get this into galleries to be accepted as a gallery piece, you know.
Excellent work.
Thank you, thank you.
It was excellent work, bud.
I'm still aghast that that's the piece he's hanging back up.
Very nice. Thank you, Norbert.
Took my breath away, Norbert. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is gorgeous.
Go to Doug.
Wake up, Doug.
Well, first off, Eddie was just talking about taking care of things that present themselves to us. You'll see in the gallery after a while the bulb that I did the second turning last week. As I was sanding it, there was a void in the bottom that opened up. And so I actually cut a hole in that, used a parting tool very gently and cut, golly, I guess it's a silver dollar size, maybe a little larger hole, and then plugged that with some maple. And it came out pretty neat. You'll see it in the gallery after a while. But then I wanted to do something. I had another project thought about, and then I thought, no, I'm going to go ahead and get some pins made for Freedom Pins. So I turned 9. It would have been 10, except one of my kits was missing a nib. The company has a nib on the way to me, so I'll have 10 in a day or two when that nib gets here. But this is just one example. They're all Saturn kits. This one's out of Box Elder. There was one tiny little piece of the red showing on one of the corners. So it's all gone. This is just pure white, just plain maple looking. But anyway, that's just one. There's a mahogany, same kit. All of these were the same kit, Saturn and gunmetal. Mahogany that I had. And then I did one, this one's out of pecan. You see, there's the sapwood, there's the heartwood. Quite a difference between the two. Had a couple out of Australian cypress and some lace wood. I just pulled stuff out of my stockpile of pin blanks, and so just had a good time making those pins the other day, and I've got those up on YouTube now, so that if somebody wants to go see them, you're welcome to go watch them.
All right, great,
Right
beautiful
on. Thank
work,
you, Doug.
really nice.
Beautiful.
I like the mix of colors in that. Oh,
Beautiful.
nice.
Very good. All right, let's go to Dave Kingsley. Hey, David.
Hey. I got busy this week. Came up with it's about a 12-inch. I think it's maple. Doesn't look too bad.
Very nice.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah,
Looks great.
and it's got oil on it. And then
Oil.
this teak oil,
Teak oil.
and this is ash, and it's thicker than I wanted it to be. But if you look around the edge here, around the edge of the tenon, it was starting to crack. So the bottom is thicker than I wanted it to be because I wasn't taking any more chances with my recent.
Looks like a mouse on the bottom.
Yeah, that knothole. If you could see it at the top and bottom here, it has some unbelievable. If I can get it, that's some unbelievable figure there. Just gorgeous.
It looks great.
And you can see some of it on the back too.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
That's where I seen the mouse.
And my
Love it.
laser work is getting a little better.
That's nice.
Very
It's
nice.
a little big, but I was concerned that the wood was very dark. I was concerned that it wouldn't show up at all. But that's
No,
what
that's-
kept me busy this week.
Yeah, that's too pretty not to keep it, safe. The wood is
Yeah.
beautiful.
After I having that last tendon break off, I don't want to push my luck.
No, I agree. Looks nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful work. Thank you, Dave.
All right, let's go to Brenda.
Hi guys.
Hey, Brenda.
Hey, Brenda.
I think my picture's frozen.
Either that, you ain't moving.
Yes, you are. There you are.
How about that? All right. This week I made keychains. I made the pill bottle keychains to use for individual urns. These I made for family members.
And friends.
And my niece wanted Daddy-O wrote on hers. And then I put engraved a cross and a heart. You can see the heart?
No,
Let's see.
saw the cross.
Can you see the heart on that one?
Oh, now you
There
can.
it is. Yeah. And this one, my girlfriend's granddaughter, she calls her, can you read that at the bottom? No. It says ma'ams. She calls her grandma ma'ams. And I put grandpa on the other side.
Very nice.
Real nicely done.
Yeah. I can do the spindle work fairly good, but bowls aren't so bad or aren't so good, but I can get a shine on the spindles.
What finish did you put on them?
The Parfex.
They look good.
And the wax and the what's the other one called?
Vonnex.
Yeah, the Vonnex and the wax. Yep.
I like the display thing you made there for him.
Yeah.
About time you got a hand up on things.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Your Parfix is probably one of your best choices of finishes on something like that because Parfix is a hard finish. It's dense. It's bulletproof. If you put something of a softer finish on that, considering it's going to get handled and it's put on things, maybe in a pocket or whatever, it will surface dent with minor abuse. But with the Parfix on it, you've wrapped it in a bulletproof shield, which is easy to repair. So if it does get damaged, you can take it, buff it off a little bit, put a little Parfix on it, and shoot, you're back on home straight again.
Yep.
Yeah. I love the Parfix.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good,
Folks,
Brenda.
Nice work.
folks have comments about using CA glue finishes. Nope, it's a finish called CA glue. It's not the other way around. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank
You
you.
have
Thank you, Brenda.
Brenda, you have quite a little entertainer there behind you.
Yeah. Yeah, my cushions. He's building a, I don't know,
Fort of some sort. Yeah.
a trap for the dog.
Oh.
I see he's packing a six gun too.
Yeah, he's packing.
in it. It's not a trap.
Yeah, packing his gun. He's always got a gun or a knife.
Uh,
There's a knife back there with him too.
No, I put that in the room.
All right.
All right, let's go to Matt now. What you got, Matt?
Matt Harber's in the house.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Ruh-roh.
Hey guys, yeah, I like Bob Moffat's birdhouses, so I made one. This is oak and silver maple.
That is pretty.
So I
That
love
is
these. These are
nice.
great fun. They're great fun, and I'm really happy that Bob introduced them all to us. And for the tips and tricks thing, I've been making a a number of things in the shop, and this is a jig I made for my bandsaw. And what it does is it goes on the bandsaw from the back. The blade goes down this shaft here, and you can use it to cut things in bowls. I haven't done a, like cut stars or whatever. I haven't done a yarn bowl yet with it, but that's one of my next. And basically, you just clamp it to the back of your bandsaw, and it sits flat on the table, and it allows you to put a bowl into the blade. So that's my tip and trick for the night.
Will you be able to demonstrate that to us in the near future?
Yeah, I'm not set up. The cameras are not pointed at my bandsaw, but I can set something up maybe
No,
for
not tonight. Not tonight.
Yeah, not tonight. I haven't actually. I just made it this afternoon, so I haven't actually cut anything with it yet.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with that. I just, when you do crank it up, I can do it in my mind, but I'd rather see it in my eyes. So I'm like the rest of the guys.
Yeah, it's basically this is like a plastic rod, and it just gives support to the piece being cut, the bowl part that's being cut.
Yeah.
It's hard to do when you don't have any support, when it's, your bowl isn't flat on the bandsaw, if you know what I mean.
When it's jumping around, yes.
Yep.
It's outright dangerous.
Might be a really nifty gizmo. It will be a nifty gizmo. Might be.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, Matt, does that move, or does it just the bowl pivot on it?
No, you put this on the bandsaw, you put it on from the back, like if it goes on the back of the bandsaw and it clamps to the bandsaw table, doesn't move. And then you just move your bowl and cut what you need to cut.
It pivots.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I will set up a demonstration for y'all for it.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Love to see it.
And do it. Look, for those of us who are slow, do it with crayon, okay? So we can follow.
Crayon.
Yeah. Right.
I'll
Let's
do
not
it
go
slow.
too high tech.
Right on. Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Look forward to seeing the demo on it. See how it works. Hopefully it works.
Yeah,
out
me
right.
too. Me too. I got it from a guy by the name of Pat Miller, who does a lot of very creative things, and he's got a video out that shows how to make it, or shows his in operation. But I'll put all that together for next week, I hope. So
yeah,
I got a peek behind the curtain this week at one of your DAW meetings. Is that Detroit area woodturners?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
All right. They sent me some photographs of your setup, your meeting setup that y'all go through with the video and the audio and different monitors and a monitor for the turner, so he can see what. So all right, you're trying to match up what you're showing to me on the video on the camera, and you can't look at the screen to see what's in your hand. You folks at DAW have a separate monitor for that, so the host or the demonstrator.
Yeah, we have a couple extra TVs, and we just moved to a new location. So this meeting we just had this month, like last Sunday, was at our new location. The first time we've been there. And there have been problems with our previous place. That was like, the first time we started going back into in-person meetings. We were there for a couple of months, and the acoustics were poor and the lighting was poor, and it was hard to see what you were doing. So, and they were using a projector, which was very hard to see. I did one demo where I couldn't really see what I was doing because the light was washing out, but we got some new cameras, we got a new computer, and the monitor, the way they set the monitor up this time, I really like. Now here in my shop, my computer is just a little bit below eye level, and I can see here, like when I'm standing here, I'm looking at the computer screen. Okay. And I can see things here, and this works. But the way they did it is they set the monitor on and it's a TV monitor, and it's on a little stand, and it's down below eye level, and I don't even have to raise my eyes up to see it. And it's really great because you can really see what you're doing really well. And you don't realize how critical that is to know what's going out to the, to online folks until you can actually see it. It's really helpful. So we spent a couple hours. What's that?
I built the rig like that for a club once, and same thing. We had a 27-inch TV that went in a holder that was on an angle, just what I saw in your program, in your demonstration. And the demonstrator if you have to have a switcher running, picking what goes on what cameras to go out to the public or goes on your main screens. Well, that switcher, what you see is what that switcher selected. So if you say, I want to show you how this fits, and you hold it up and he could pick the right camera for it, you'll see what the audience sees. I'm get bothered by these demos that are third and fourth hand because the turner doesn't have any idea what can see what, or he's doing his own in-house switching. We've had several people go on that had a buddy that understands what's going on, that knows that you don't watch the demonstration, you watch the screen. So you can decide.
In all of our demonstrations, the lathe is facing the audience, so you can't really see directly what the turner is doing. And even if you could, only like the people in the first two rows would be able to see the demonstrator. So having cameras that show, like I've tried to set that up here too, having cameras that show the angle and show the tools in a sort of a zoomed in capacity is really, really helpful, because you can put it up, like we've got this big monitor up behind the turner. It's like a 60-inch monitor or something. And I've talked to a number of folks, and we're still tweaking our setup, but I've talked to a number of folks who said, yeah, I don't watch the turner, I watch the monitor because I can see what they're doing with the tools and everything. And I think that that's a real important consideration when you're doing demos of any kind is, if I want to learn something from the turner, the demonstrator, I want to see what he's doing with the tool, So yeah, we're still tweaking it. We've got some things to work on, but it's coming along. And I think it went really well this past weekend. So
very nice setup. It really was. And
yeah, we spent a couple of hours the day before tweaking everything and moving things around. And I brought in Sunday was the meeting. I brought in an extra tripod that I had at home because we weren't happy with where the tailstock camera was, and we couldn't get it close enough because it was on one of this lighting post thing, and it wasn't close enough. And so we're still tweaking it, and they're just using Zoom, okay, for the cameras. They don't have any digital zooming. So like if you're using something like vMix, you could digitally zoom the camera in too. So like I said, we've got some tweaking to do, and at some point I'm going to sit down with a couple of the folks who are running things and go through my setup and see if there's something we can change to make it better. But
it's all practice, and the whole team has to practice, not just one or two members. The entire team. I found I was at a demonstration in, I want to think it's Kentucky. I went up to a club up there, and they had a guy doing the switching, and he had the old thing. It used to be as big as a laptop to do the switching. The deal with that club was, it was simple. That guy was not in the room where the lathe was. And I'm asking, why don't they got room where they just bring his table and put it right over here? No, he only sees the output screen. He sees all the input video, all the input camera angles, like a director in a TV studio or news studio. He gets to see all the blocks that he can choose from, and he chooses that block, and what he chooses, you see. And they did it that way on purpose, because if the guy was in the room with the demonstrator, and I can look over there and see what Kenny's turning tonight, I might lose track of what everybody else is seeing. But if I can't see what Kenny's, except right here, I'll get more focused on what I do. That's what takes practice at a club. You have to put all the egos on the side and think about the output for the I won't say consumer, but for the member. The output's got to be optimum.
Yeah, for the viewer.
Yeah.
One of the things I do think it's easier. I mean, as a demonstrator, I think it's easier and faster for me to switch the camera angles myself, rather than to have somebody else be managing that and me say, "Can you give me the overhead camera?" So I don't know. It's very easy. I have this little mini keyboard thing. This is what I use to switch cameras with. So I mean, I can push 1, 2, or 3 and give me any of the cameras, and that's huge. So like I can go here and I can go give me 2, which is the I got to turn it on first.
Matt, did you set those up as hotkeys inside OBS?
Yeah, I'm using vMix, but and I got the like I can switch to to the overhead camera, and I can switch to the tailstock camera, which I need to adjust a little bit. But and so I can then switch back to the one that's pointing at me, and I can do things like put a with a simple keystroke put a
turn pick.
Yep. So make it go away, and so on. So there's a lot of functionality, and this keyboard setup is something that I downloaded from what is Alan Zenrick? What's his site?
Lucid.
Yeah, Lucid. I mean, he publishes all that, his keyboard hotkeys. I mean, I figured out how to do them before I got his, but the one I'm using now is the downloaded key map for that little keyboard, and it just mimics your keyboard, and it's a USB thingy in it, and it's you can put it wherever you want. I put little magnets on the back too, so I can just stick it to my lathe. So there's a lot of really cool things that you can do, and this was like $25 or something like that. So
do you have to pay for vMix?
I think that I paid $60 for vMix, but it's a one-time fee. It's not a subscription, and that gets me 4 inputs, only 3 of which can be cameras, but you can piggyback the mic on one of the cameras. So I use the 4th input for a PowerPoint or a video or something like that. So I kind of leave it open. So there's a lot of options. So
I agree with that too. I find it easier and quicker and better just to switch the cameras myself. And I use hotkeys on a similar keyboard, just like you do.
Yep.
And I set up all my hotkeys through OBS. OBS, you don't have limit on the amount of cameras and microphones and stuff you can use. It's just a free platform, so there's a bit more of a learning curve in learning to use it efficiently, but it's pretty easy. There's enough YouTube videos out there that you can go to OBS school and learn all the internet.
Well, I didn't know if you could do that with OBS or not. I've got a small Logitech wireless keyboard that I use to change my camera angles. I've got 3 cameras, and that can come in really handy. I've just not thought of setting up the hotkeys to make it happen.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
OBS. You just go to the settings, click on hotkeys, and you can actually set all your scenes to hotkeys.
Yeah, I have not used OBS.
Thanks, Kate.
The guys at my club apparently have not been able to figure it out to their satisfaction. So they're thinking about switching to vMix. But I know you can do all the things they want to do on OBS too, like you're doing, Kade. So that's great advice, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like free. I mean, it took me a little longer to learn and to troubleshoot all the technical mumbo jumbo that's in the app, but I mean, YouTube helped me there.
Yep.
I go to Scott Fichter, FICTER Fichter, when I'm looking for something on OBS. He's a character, but he's got it. And once you get into that program, and don't snort at it, once you get into that kind of program, there's so much trailing behind it. It's unbelievable, because it's number one, it's very inexpensive. Even the add-ons and tack-ons are extremely inexpensive, and you can really produce a top-notch performance. Although we're not into producing performances, it's what we do should be seen and enjoyed by the people we do it for. That's what we push here.
But let me jump in here and put a different perspective on it. We've heard vMix, we've heard OBS, and I'm using a physical switcher. I'm not in my shop right now, but I physically have an ATM Mini that allows me to just press the button and it switches from camera to camera. It does require an HDMI input, so I don't use camcorders. I use camcorders, not webcams. So it's just a different way of doing it. I went with it because it's simple. no programming required. Press the button and it'll do it. And there's some power behind it too, because you can tie back in with your computer with everything else with it and everything else. But anyhow, just a different perspective.
Well, having the HDMI inputs lets you use the high def, the camcorders that'll give you a better picture too.
That is correct. I'm using three camcorders, and I'm using an Apple TV box. And I'm using the Apple TV box that allows my tablet or my phone to be used as another camera, or I've used it for presentation. So I'll pull a presentation up on my iPad, link it to Apple TV, and it's just one of the inputs. So I don't even have to go to share screen. And then I input that into Zoom as a single input into Zoom. So, but it's just another option. It's just, it's a third option on here. And part of the reason I picked it is because it allows me to get the webcam camcorders that I can zoom in on. I don't have to move my camera in and out. I can zoom in and out using the camcorder.
Yeah, I think it's really useful, and I do like you, Trey, and you, Kade. I think that being able to, for the demonstrator himself to be able to switch the cameras actually saves time, because I know what I want to do, and I can anticipate which camera I want to use quicker than me saying, "Can you give me the overhead camera?" and having the guy who's running things try to find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, one of my inputs goes to a TV display that's sitting up above my lathe, and that's what's coming out of my box. So I can see what I'm showing out of what I'm inputting into Zoom. So
very cool, very cool.
One thing it does have more powerful audio than most of the other systems do, because it has a full audio setup in there and everything from equalizers and
vMix has got an equalizer in it too.
Yeah, but I basically can have 6 different mic inputs into the system. I've got 2 that go directly into it, and then I have 1 per camera. So, but anyhow, it's just a different perspective.
So many avenues to go to the same place, but at least we have more than one atom, more than one way to travel. And we might seems like we get off a little bit on wood turning here, but we were here to share what happens in wood turning and what happens at club meetings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I heard from a club in Fairview or Fairfield. I can't read my writing. We talked yesterday, and a guy wants to videotape his club demonstrations and put them on the internet. And he was asking me the legalities of it, and how could we get in troubles and all this. And I'm old school at this. I really believe if it's your iPhone and you videotaped it and it's yours and you put it up there, I don't know. Maybe Joe Laura can find a way to say don't do that. But what I'm thinking is you're sharing information. As long as there's not money changing hands someplace along the road, you should be okay. I look forward to those. I check websites for clubs to see if they are posting their demonstrations, because no matter what they do, they've done something that maybe you didn't do, or they got a different avenue, different route to get there. The thing where the club told me their switcher works in another room, it made absolute sense to me, thinking back on the days when I did radio and TV. If your producer's next to you, they're not producing, they're just next to you. If they're where the end product goes out at.
One of the issues we had is on Sunday is that our where all of our electronics was fairly close to the lathe motor. So we were getting some kind of interference when you turn the lathe on, and there was a hum coming out of things. So it's like, we need to work on that. I had a call from somebody today who said, "Yeah, we need to set up some foil." And I'm like, "Okay, put the whole thing in a Faraday cage."
Almost. I got some. There's such a thing called lead foil. It's not like tin foil. It's lead foil. It's no plumbing trick, and we had a problem with a jet motor putting out a frequency that our audio system was capturing.
Yep. Same.
And
That we have a jet lathe. Yep.
Yeah, and one of the guys came back with a piece of plumber's lead foil the next month, and he just laid it behind the unit, and all of it went away. Piece of lead foil.
Yep.
You know, the story is, before the day was over, somebody wadded up and threw it away. Oh well, you don't worry who's in your pickup crew when you pick up. But it did block it, and we straightened out the lead foil and kept it around if we had that problem again. It was just that the placement of the pickup devices, it fell in a line, and the foil broke that line, which was, by what I've seen and what we've heard and what we've experienced in this world, those are all minuscule. We can get past them. It's little bitty bumps in the road. Yep. 10 minutes 40 hours, 7 o'clock. I'm Captain Eddie Castelin. You're with us on worldwidewoodturners.org. One of our recent projects has been the creation of some segments for our meetings called Tips and Tricks. The goal is simple. I do something, you do something. Very rarely do we do it alike. I have a problem, you have a problem. Very rarely do we have the same answer or resolve for it. So I have an idea, you have an idea. Let's share those ideas. That's where this, called Tips and Tricks, comes from. Well, we're going to go to Tom Kenney. Tom's got one for us. This one, he had published it with us, and it went to our website. But if you haven't seen it, this is Tom Kenney on the Depth Finder. Stick around. Gotta hit the right buttons.
I've always struggled with determining the depth of a turning, and I'm an ordained member of the Funnel Club, and I would like to avoid that. At first I started using this method where I'd take a pencil and I'd sight down and then transfer that over and try and get lined up with my other eye on the backside and determine the depth, and wasn't satisfied with that. So I came up with a device I've seen many people use. Is a board, and in my case I've got a carriage bolt and a wing nut to lock it in place. I've seen similar where they've used a dowel, and put that across the bowl. The head of the carriage bolt is touching the bottom, then come up to the top, and again try to get your eye lined up and figure out where the bottom is. Again, not entirely satisfied with that. And that also had limitations. For example, with a live edge bowl, you had an irregular edge. It was hard to get an accurate reading. And this is what I came up with. This is actually the second version. The first one was, I turned a wooden Morris taper and took an old pen mandrel and put it in there. And this part is a store-bought laser guide. Initially I bought it for handheld tools, and it simply doesn't work for that purpose. The way I have it set up is the laser points directly at the tip. When I move the depth finder in, don't jam it in there because you can dent the bottom of your bowl. Now the laser is pointing to where the bottom is.
What is the first thing that usually happens?
On the outside of the bowl. And I found that to be more accurate than some of the other ways I was doing it. And I especially like it on hollow forms because I do the same thing. I bring it in gently.
There's talking behind the screen
Don't even
again.
lock the tailstock down, just push it in, and by feel you can tell when you've touched. And again, the laser is showing me right where the bottom is on the inside. And this system will work regardless of the size of the turning that you have. Here's a little itty bitty holoform, and I can put that in, and again the laser shows me right where the bottom is. And as I mentioned earlier, using this this type of depth gauge would be a little difficult with something that has an irregular edge. With this laser system, shows me exactly where the bottom is. The whole thing can be made out of wood. I have a friend that has a metal lathe, and he turned a Morris taper for me. And again, this part is store-bought, but you could easily take a wooden block and fashion something to hold your laser. And the only critical part is the laser has to be pointed right at the tip. That's it.
We put the brakes on that one. That was from Tom Kenney. He's a member of the club, and he followed on our invite that if you have something that you'd like to produce for us, I think I have one or two more from Tom that we'll play in the future, but we're waiting to hear from you. Pretty simple. If you've got an idea for a tip or a trick, all you have to do is produce it or send it to us, and we will do what we can with it. It's to share information that our turners require, need, want, and they'll share it with you. So let's open the door by saying, you got a tip or a trick, we're going to do it and share it right here on worldwidewoodturners.org. And as I try to do each week, and this week we have it lined up, I'm going to stay here for one more minute before we go to Scott with the Birdhouse Project and show you this week's invited gallery. what you see there is what we got this past week. Fantastic. About 5 minutes of a video gallery that you pretty can see anywhere else in the world because it's Worldwide Woodturners. If you like to add a piece to our gallery, it's absolutely free. All you need to do is email it to me at worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. That's worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com, and I'll be able to use it. I started collecting photographs again yesterday afternoon, and we'll continue until Tuesday morning when I go back to bubbly class next week, and I will put together next week's video. And it is posted to websites, YouTube websites.
Good job, Eddie, putting that together.
Quite welcome.
It takes a lot of time, and we appreciate it.
Hey, it's fun. You know what? I get to look at all your stuff. I really do. And that's the fun part. I get to look at all the stuff. Everybody's churning and what they're coming up with the ideas. And I mean, we're going to see Scott do a little bit of something on the birdhouse in a minute or two. But Bob Moffett we know him as Captain Birdhouse, Mr. Birdhouse, because of things. Look at the art that he had in the gallery tonight. That's some beautiful work that Bob turned out, and they're all projects, and he shows you how to do them. But I've really traveled down a bumpy road. I want to talk about the guy that's going to do our demonstration tonight, and Dane brought him in. Dane, who we got and why?
Now we have Scott Hampton lined up for tonight.
All right.
A regularly scheduled demonstrator that I had scheduled. Unfortunately, work called and he wasn't going to be able to fulfill his requirements. So sent my feelers out to my go-to folks, and Scott was the first one to respond back to fill the slot. So without further ado, let's go to Mr. Scott Hampton and see what kind of birdhouse he is going to make for us. Trey, can you set Scott up for co-host, please?
Unmute myself first. There we go.
All right. While we're setting up, folks, let me mention, we'd like you to hold your questions, comments, or anything else until we get this demonstration complete. Scott always allow a little time for questions and some banting or kidding if we can. And what we'll learn from it. Stick with us. Scott, good evening, sir. Welcome and thank you.
Welcome to my shop here in California. Glad to see everybody here. We're going to make a birdhouse today. I was scheduled to middle of May, but Dane kind of sweet talked me into doing this one. So, so this is what we're going to be making today. Let me turn that around. There we go. This is a nice little finial type birdhouse with a long roof and a little robin up on the perch there. So without further ado, let's go switch over to my overhead camera. There we go. I need to adjust my mice. I got my arrow pointing right in the middle of that camera, and I don't want that. All right, so what this is just a regular two-inch diameter poplar dowel you buy at your local hardware store. I really like the whiteness of the wood. That's why I like to choose this kind. It doesn't really fade. It might get a little dark streaks, which is okay, but once you spray it with like an acrylic type of a finish on it, it usually pretty much stays this color. So, and you can see I've already drilled a 3/8 inch hole for the opening and a very small hole. I'm not sure on the size. It matches the size of the perch. So whatever size your perch is, just drill a small hole for that one. But 3/8 is a pretty good size for this size of a birdhouse. What I do want to do is grab my small roughing gouge, and I do want to true this up, get a little more balanced, and I'm gonna crank it up to about it's around 2,000 RPMs. And I'm just going to start on the inside here and just work my way towards the end. And just a couple of pilling cuts. It's safer to do these towards the headstock. So you're not just by pushing your tool towards the headstock. And by just like looking at the horizon, you can tell it's pretty much balanced now. So what I want to do is just drill a hole in the center. That's how I do my hollowing on these. It's quick and easy. So what I want to do is put a little divot in here for the drill bit first. That way the drill bit can find the center of the piece of blank there without wandering around too much. And I just need to turn down my lathe to a proper speed for drilling. Yeah, it's about 400. Bring my tailstock up. I got this all set to go. This is a 1.5 inch Forstner bit with sawtooth. Thing about these Forstner bits, the sawtooth works great going into end grain like this. Oh, I lost. Oh, what happened to my, there it is. Focus went out for a second. I'm going to find a different view. There we go. That's a better view. That way you guys can see the top and the bottom there. The sawtooth type of Forstner bit's great for end grain, and the straight blade type is great for side grain. If anybody is familiar with Forstner bits, that's the best option you have for getting the best and easiest cut hole. So I've already measured how deep I want to go by putting a piece of tape on here. And this wood is pretty dry. And I can also see that I've already turned past the opening. That's where I want to go. So I'm just going to pull this back out. I probably don't need it to go quite as deep as that tape that's got it. Unlock there. Man, I really need to take apart my tailstock and do some lubricating on this thing. It's sounding rougher and rougher all the time. Okay, so I need to go just a little bit deeper. So I'm just flush with it right now. So I want to go a little bit deeper with it. Please ask questions while you're, if you like. There we go. Now we're almost to the end of the tape. That should be good. And the reason why I use a small Forstner bit like that is because I want to shape the outside of this somewhat. The first thing I want to do is take this drill bit out of here so my elbow doesn't go plowing into it by accident here.
Hey, Scott, why did you drill the holes first rather than after you had it shaped?
It gives it it's much thicker this way, less vibration. If I was to go and hollowing it, I'm limited as to the shape I want to create on there. So if I plowed in there and with a spindle gouge or however you want to hollow it out.
I meant the entry hole and the perch hole. Why did you drill them first rather than after it's already?
Oh, because you don't want your drill bit to go through. I've had splintering happen. Once it gets into the inside there, it's just going to go boom, and it's going to hit the backside, and I could actually blow out the hole, cause a crack here.
Okay, great. Thanks.
So that's what. Yeah, I want to keep the wood solid while you're drilling the entrance holes there. I'm going to bring my tailstock back up, my tool rest back up. And I'm going to grab my large, well, somewhat, it's a small roughing gouge just to get the general shape going here. Need to lower my tool rest a little bit. There we go. And you want to start at the highest diameter and work your way into the middle. You just want to work your way back and forth. So I got a lot of wood to take down here, so. And we just clean that up with a couple of back and forth right in the center here. This is just rough turning. This isn't my finished diameter. So I'm going to stop my lathe. And another thing, having that hole right there, is you can see how thick you're getting. So I can take a little bit more off. It's still a little thick there, but I do need to take a little bit more off towards the roof. So I'll work on that. So I'll work my way down this way. Because these are ornaments, you want to make sure that you want to try your best to keep them as light as possible. So I'm just going to remove some more of this diameter down. I don't need all of that. Okay, so now I'm just taking some nice slow cuts towards the center here. Basically a large cove. Same thing on this direction here. Okay, by the sound of the wood, I'm getting kind of thin right in here, so I probably want to stop. And we will see where we're at. Okay, yeah, I don't want to go any thinner there. So I'm just going to do a really nice, slow cleanup cut with a spindle gouge here, just to get rid of any rough lines. Same type of cut, just work your way towards the middle there. And what's good about this wood too is that I need to take a little bit off here to match the diameter on the top. Just eyeball it. Doesn't need to be perfect. This poplar sands really well and smooth, so it's easy to get any tool marks out of it. So I've got a little bit of a kind of a bump right here. So there we go. Same right here. The lines kind of show up, barely kissing that bevel on there. Another reason why I use to make a 1.5 inch size hole is I can put my chuck that has pin jaws on it and reverse it instead of using wood. You can use wood to make a jam chuck, sure, but I get into a production mode with these and kind of speeds the process up. So I'm just going to barely lightly sand the inside just to get rid of any roughness in case somebody wants to look through the opening there that quick. All right, then I'll do the same thing on the outside real quick. And I think I need to take a little bit more off right in here. So I'm going to work on that real quick. You see the diameter's not quite matching, so I still want to get a little more down here. There we go. Gonna round this over a little bit so it seats up against the roof. Let me get to that portion of the demo. Okay, so we are all set. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab me a parting tool and part this off. So the body is pretty much done except for shaping the bottom of it. There's a lot of wood. I didn't go hollow wood out with the drill bit all the way to the bottom of this. It's just past the opening. So it gives a lot of extra wood to play around with when you reverse turn it. So just twist this off. And if I wanted to, I can make a jam chuck out of this and just pop that on there, stick it on. Maybe I can do that Maybe I'll do that now. That way you guys can get an idea what I'm talking about instead of using my chuck. Just need to grab my calipers here. Measure the inside. There we go. And turn my tool rest around. Turn the speed down a little bit. I'll raise the tool rest up to, I'm just going to mark the diameter. Just kind of eyeball it there. And I pretty much got it where I need it. Shows up pretty easy, so I'm going to grab a pencil so you guys can see that a little. Let's see if I can get a side view of you guys. I'm going to put a shoulder view. There we go. So I'm just going to mark that so you guys can see where I'm aiming for. Readjust the tool rest. Grab my parting tool and start working my way down to that, but not quite all the way. You just want to kind of inch it up there, and then we're going to almost. So we're reason why I'm taking off so little right now is that way it gives me a little extra wood in case I make it a little too small, like I did right there, but I can work with that. So I can make a kind of slope this. So I just left a little step there. It's either going to be a little too small or a little too big. Making a wooden jam chucks like this it's always a hit and miss as far as how to set it up. So I'm just going to get rid of this part here. If I know this part is too small, you just want to kiss it with the parting tool until this part just slides right on. So I'm just going to create a slight taper. You guys can see that taper forming there. I'm going to slide the this will give me a judgment as far as create a mark by spinning this on here. So I got a little mark right there that I can see. It's a little burnish mark, so I can take the parting tool and just cut down into that area there. Want to make sure this part of the wood is flat. On the burnish part, still on that just a little bit. Still need to take a little bit more off. And if this doesn't work, I'm just going to switch out my chucks to the pin jaws. So. Okay, I'm almost there. One more cut and we should be popping that puppy right on there. The only problem with using the pin jaws is if you snug it up too high, if I was using the scroll chuck, is you can actually crack the birdhouse, and I want to try to avoid that if you can. Yeah, this is kind of boring to watch, but This is how you make a jam chucks out of wood. There we go. All right, so I need to work my way towards this area back here. That's where it's hanging up at.
This can be a tedious part here.
Yes, it can be tedious.
That's why you
All
leave
right.
that extra wood.
Yep, just in case. All right, so I'm on there. I just got to get this one. This back corner here is where it's hanging up right there. But it's well worth it. I mean, if you're going to. There we go. Snug up there. You want the shoulders, the top of the birdhouse to hit that shoulder there. Otherwise, it's going to run out of true.
Well, the beauty is the hole you drilled is with a forced bit. It's going to be a true size each time. So if you go into production, this jam chuck could work for all the other bases you core the same.
Yes, that's right. That's why, you know, it's smart to just to get it right the first time, and then any consequential birdhouses you make with that same diameter, you can use this jam chuck. You might have to fit it a little bit. This wood does move.
Oh, well,
but
that's what toilet tissue is good for.
So I just need to remove this little divot right here. Lower my tool rest down. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm just going to do some pull cuts here. I'm going to leave this area as flat as I can right in the center here, and then a little ways out so the finial on the bottom will rest on that flat. Then I'll do some pull cuts here just to round over the bottom. Give it a little shape there. And then do a slight push cut towards the center again, just to clean up that corner, make it nice and sharp detail. Yeah, so we got ourselves the bottom of the birdhouse. You can see the shape of it forming there. I'm just going to grab that sandpaper and just go over this rough part here real quick. This is just 180 just to get rid of any of the small tool marks. I ain't too worried about sanding where the finial goes. A little roughness actually helps the glue key to the wood. Yeah, so now I can just keep this jam chuck. I'll just mark it birdhouse, and I will know that that's what it fits. So that's on there. As you can see the bottom of it there. It's all nice and flat. So now what I need to do is just drill a small hole for the finial. So I just need to grab my drill chuck jaws here. And I need to take this drill chuck out.
I was going to say, that's a big finial.
Yeah, I was going, you know.
No, I'm changing the drill bits. Don't worry.
I want to see B-roll the B-roll outtakes of this one.
All right. And I need to back this off again. I still need to make the divot. Just like I did when I did the top of the birdhouse. Keep this from the drill bit from wandering too much. She's out around a little bit.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can.
It's not seated all the way back.
Yeah, it's not seated all the way up against there. I just saw that black little line. There we go. That should do it. There we are. Yeah, always make sure this is running true before you drill a hole like this.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yes. If the hole's not straight, your finial's not going to line up straight, so it's going to look kind of awkward. Come on, there we go. Doesn't need to go all the way through. That'll do it right there. And we just pop that off. So now we got a nice little hole for the finial. And it's nice and smooth on the inside of that birdhouse too. So now we can move on to making the roof. And I can do two things for you guys. I'm not sure if you guys, what you want to see. I can use this nice block of wood here. Or I can use this, it's called sugar pine. And then if you want, I can burn it and put colored wax into the grain. So what do you guys want to?
The first one.
I like the darker colored wood.
All right. We'll do that then. So let's, yeah. Yep, that one will work. I'm just gonna stick this in here, and I'm just gonna true up this end and put a tenon on it. So yeah, that's good. Things first, we need to true this up. Just my tool rest. Make sure everything's locked down. Grab that small roughing gouge again. I'm at about 2,000 RPMs. It makes that speed makes cutting these corners off. If I was like to turn it, I mean, if I was doing like 600 or something, you'd hear the difference. Like, hear that? That is a rough cut. So if you turn up the speed, it's more like a sawtooth going through the wood, so you can tell the difference there. There's some pill cuts towards the headstock. And we'll see how round we've got it here. We've got a little bit more to go. So I can do some pilling cuts here. Turn it up a little faster. Tell by the sound when you're pretty much getting round. Now we got, see, that's a pretty piece of wood and it's cut really nice. So what I want to do now is just create want to reverse turn this into the chuck. Get rid of that other square there. And I might want to melt that in there real quick. Not sure if this is gonna. I need to measure something real quick here. I'm just measuring to see if I can get a good. Tenon on the end of this. It might be too small already. Yeah. Okay, get it on it. This be just a little bit larger than 1.5. So let's see. That's but really close. So I might just leave it in the chuck like this and just turn it. I should be able to do that fine. All right, so I want to true up the top end here. Just get that unevenness out of it. Yep, I'm on the right camera there. Let's see if I can. Oh, my camera went out. That's weird. I lost a camera view. Which one did I lose? Side view, overhead view. Okay, so strange. That is really weird. My cameras are. There we go. How's that? That'll work. So what I want to do is I'm just going to make a nice pointy hat here. So I'm just going to grab this roughing gouge one more time. I use it a lot for making birdhouses. Give it a spin, make sure everything's locked down. Nothing's going to hit the scroll chuck here. I need to lower this down a little bit. Well, this ain't gonna work. I'm gonna grab me my large spindle gouge. It'll probably do a better job of this. Set it back a little bit. There we go. So it's not running on the bevel there. Yeah, this is working better than the roughing gouge was. You just want to work your way incrementally. You don't want to start way back here and try to take one big, massive cut to create this shape. So you're just going to pull your blank right out of the scroll chuck doing that. Now we just need to work our way from here towards the top, make it a little pointier and a little pointer as we go, adjusting the shape. Just slow it down towards the end there. Okay, so now I need to grab my parting tool and just put a little divot in the end so I can drill a really small hole so I can put a eye hook in the end. So we have something to hang the birdhouse from. I'm going to grab my pin vise, has a really small drill bit in it. And this one right here. Let's get rid of some of that. And we just stick it right in that center there and just go whoop, that quick. Make sure you go in straight in and out or you will snap that drill bit off in the hole, which is something you want to try to avoid. So, okay, so I'm going to angle my full rest a little bit better. I need to lower it a little more. And I'm going to do one final pass or two here just to clean this up. Nice and slow. This is a 1/2-inch detail gouge. It's really a shallow flute on it, so I really like it for cuts like this. And we got a really nice cut there, so I don't think I'm going to need to do anything. Oh, that is one smooth cut. I don't think I need to do any sanding whatsoever on that. So next thing you want to do is grab your parting tool, measure the diameter of your inside of your, it's pretty much 1.5 inches. It should be right there. Yep. And we're going to use this just to cut the roof down to where it creates a tenon so it fits down just a little bit down inside the the opening here. There we go. Right down in there. Move a couple of these things out of the way so I'm not crashing into my tools and knocking them off. All right, so got my calipers that ready to go. I'm going to start the measuring back here with a, because if I make it too small, this will allow me to move up a little ways. Got to watch those chuck jaws. And I probably made it, I'm probably just about there. Okay, just a couple more slight cuts. So I can cut a little bit this off here. Even it up. And work your way down again. Always turn off your lathe when you're putting these on your. You don't want to do this when the piece is moving. And send them flying up into your head or across the shop or something. You guys can see what I'm doing there. Just evening that up, and then I'm coming back here and make a deeper cut again. I mean, it can be a little smaller. You don't want it real snug because the wood's going to move. Yeah, I can see where I'm just about there. So I'm just going to take a little more off here. There we go. Just a little enough play for the glue to rest in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a bevel going the opposite direction here. All right, now a trick to making this fit in the top of the birdhouse is I use a very small parting tool, and it's cut at a slant. See if I can, you guys can see this a little bit better over the black. You guys can probably see that.
Yep.
That way, I'll bring it into the bottom of the roof on a slant, and when it gets to the bottom where that tenon is, the idea is to have this sit right on the flat of that tenon. But this helps make the roof. There you go. There's something in that wood that's being grabby. Okay, that's that dark piece right there. I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to use try my best with my larger parting tool because that did not sound like it was liking that hard portion of this wood. So just undercut it. And there we go. That was my tool hitting my jaws. Usually I got a little bit of a longer piece of wood on here, but this wood was so nice I didn't want to. And now I'm just leveling it out towards the bottom there. And let's see if I got any bites out of that. Okay, got a little bit of a tear out right there where the tool still hit this. So I'm just going to still got plenty to play with here, so I got rid of that. All right, so we both grab me a eye hook. Yeah, silver one will look nice in this one. I get these at Hobby Lobby if anybody's interested. And I don't glue the eye hooks in. They're pretty good at staying in on their own as long as you drill the hole it's right size. This allows you to, if you got it hanging like an ornament, you could twist the birdhouse a little bit this way or that way using the eye hook so you can get the opening facing you instead of away from you maybe on a Christmas tree or something. So All right, so I'm gonna grab me my narrow parting tool. As you can notice, I'm not doing any finishing because that'll just take a while for it to dry. So. And I'm just going back and forth, opening up that hole so that the parting tool doesn't bind. And that should be good enough for me just to twist it off. You'll never see that. You'll never see that once it's glued in there. So we got, let's get rid of that picture there. So we got that part of the birdhouse done. So now all we got to do is the finial. So I was thinking just using a small piece of walnut, a 1x1 piece. I need to change my chuck jaws or my chuck out. Grab the chuck that has the pin jaws in it. So I can do walnut or cedar. Which do you guys want to see?
Walnut.
Cedar's pretty. Walnut?
Cedar.
All right.
Cedar.
Cedar.
So, cedar.
Well,
Cedar's pretty. Huh?
Well, come on.
So we got cedar going. That's what I heard the most. So I got a nice piece of red cedar here to make the finial out of. It'll give it a nice color on the bottom. So you don't want to bottom it out all the way. You want it to, in these pin jaws, you need to bring it out a little bit. That way it runs true. Put out just a little bit more, give me a little more play room there.
No, what you was thinking.
The cap get a little more trued up. There we go. Good enough. I like making finials. With my birdhouses and my Christmas ornaments, I probably make over 200 finials a year. Even Cindy Droza says she doesn't even come close to making that many. That's what she told me. She says she might make like 20 or 30 a year. Surprised me, but
yeah, it is surprising.
I get into production mode when I start making finials. I make them all different shapes and sizes. All right.
Do you standardize the tenon? I mean, do you just make them and then how do you fit them to pieces?
I use the same drill bit. Like if I'm making where is one? If I'm making like, let's see here. If I'm making one of these, I use the same size drill to drill the hole in the bottom of this. And then hollow it through that hole. And then the tenons all can be the same size.
Okay, so what size, what drill bit and what size are your tenons then if you're standardizing them like that?
Well, for the birdhouse, let me grab that drill bit here. It's still in there. I believe it's a 3/8 inch. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a 3/8 inch.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. For the birdhouses, though, for that finial, I have to drill through there. That's more like a 5/8. Because I need a larger opening to be able to hollow out the inside of the ornament before I put the finial on. All right, so all that cleared out of the way. We got that. We are all set to. So I need to lower my tool rest just a little bit for this tool.
Can you switch your camera, Scott?
down really quick here.
Can you switch your camera, Scott?
Oh, sorry. That's better, huh?
There we go.
Yeah, it's a grumpy
So
old
I'm
guy.
just,
Yeah.
so I'm just cutting this down, making it round. This is a 1x1 square block of cedar. So that I usually start all my finials with. And a lot of people do it, but I don't support the tailstock when I make my finials. I haven't found the need to do it. I know they make like things that can go in your tailstock to help support it and stuff, but what I found, because I make my finials so thin that if I even have a little bit of support from the tailstock, it actually causes it to whip around instead of just letting it hang out there loose. Now I'm just getting a rough kind of, straighten that out a little bit there. It's amazing what you could do with a small roughing gouge there. So now I'm going to grab me a couple of small, where are they? Probably still in the drawer here. All right. So I got a very small detail gouge. I think it's like 1/4 inch or about that. So what I want to do is I want to bring my tool rest around here, and I'm just going to have my tool facing straight up and just give it a turn while at the same time pushing it in a little bit. Okay. And I'm just going to tap that with some really light sandpaper on the end here. Just to get rid of any slight tool marks that the roughing gouge might have left. So as you can see, I already got the first little detail in it. And if while you're sanding, you want to make a little bit of sand, work your way down, sand some more, so you're not putting any pressure on a really thin area. So what I need to do now is grab me a smaller spindle gouge here. And take a bit more of this away with it. And I'm just going to stop right there for now, and I'm going to start working my way towards the headstock. I don't want to make a really long finial for the bottom of this. So it'll overpower what the birdhouse. And you guys can kind of see how thin I'm getting there. It looks bigger on the camera than it actually is here on the shop. And come back here, clean this up. And this is where I would come in and I would roll the sandpaper around like a little circle like that. And just give it a nice little rub there. You don't want to use really heavy sandpaper, just a fine 240 or 320 to start with would work. So I can start working on this end. I'm going to just kind of dive in with this tool here and give it a nice little detail there. And then I'm going to create a cove. using the round, just following it through. It's like you would a cove, just work your way towards the center there, back and forth. All right, so now I'm going to put a little bit of a detail here by turning my tool pretty much at 3 o'clock. Strike like that. Create like a little divot. Then I'm going to grab my small detail gouge and clean up going the other direction here. Getting a little further down inside. Kind of give that a little bit of a shape right here, kind of a cove. And it looks like I still got a little bit of a bump right here. So I'm just gonna tap it real quick. A lot of this can be taken out with your sandpaper. I like to use walnut, maple, or cedar for the birdhouse finials. They turn really nice and they're easy to sand and finish. So, all right. So, see how it looks when the lathe's not running. That looks pretty nice. So I need to adjust my tool rest one more time. And what I want to do now is grab my that off. I want to measure that square area I've created on the bottom of the birdhouse. This should be about right. It'll do for now. I can always put the body of the birdhouse back on that jam chuck and make that little square spot a little bit smaller. So I did go a little short on the diameter here. That's the plus size is you haven't glued anything together yet. So
That's cute.
So I'm going to start just taking this down a little bit. Again, I'm going to put like a little chamfer on here. Then what I need to do is measure that with the calipers again, measure the small hole or the drill bit, either way. I like to drill the holes more than the drill bit, 'cause sometimes the hole can get a little bit bigger than you want when you're drilling it. So this is for the tenon that's going to go in the bottom of the birdhouse. So got my calipers there. Again, I'm going to start back here. Once I get into like production mode during the day, I can just stop measuring pretty much, or get really close to the right size without having to stop and check. Your eyes will adjust to the right side. Okay, we're dead on right there. Can't get any closer than that. So now we just want to start nice light cuts here. And again, I did like an undercut under the birdhouse here. So it'll fit flush on the bottom of the, so it looks like it might be a little too big at this end. Yep. So I'm going to grab that small, should be able to get this to work now. Let's bring it, the tool rest up. That small parting tool here. Make sure that the grind is facing the right way. And we can just level all that out. And we will grab the calipers one more time, the lathe off. Just check that size. Okay, we are good to go. So I'm just gonna grab me my parting tool and pop that off of there. Come on. And this should fit in the bottom. Let me move some of this stuff to the side here so you guys can see a little bit better. Let me grab a white piece of paper here so you guys can see this on the lathe. We got the various pieces, and I also already have a bird on a perch all set to go in there. So as you can see, we got the finial will fit in there pretty nicely there. Now it sits nice and flush on the bottom there. I'll probably put it back on the jam chuck and clean up where that little flat is still showing. You would want to put the roof on there just like that. And then we put the little, I would naturally glue this all together when it's time. But
Where do you get the birds?
I get them at Hobby Lobby in the dollhouse section.
You can
They
also
sell 'em
get
there.
them at Michael's.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, I like these. These are hard to, they like craft supplies and stuff. They sell birds, but they're made out of paper and they don't have the detail as these do. So that's why I prefer these. And then you would just adjust where you want the roof, you know, the colors and whatnot. So there you go. You got yourself a birdhouse with a finial.
Very nice.
Very nice indeed. That's just Jim Dandy.
Hope you guys like it.
job.
Hope you guys learned a little
Thanks,
something.
Scott.
Very nice. Thank you.
Great
You're
job.
very
Scott.
welcome.
Good
Very
night.
good, Scott.
Really appreciate it.
I hope I
Thank you,
didn't
Scott.
take too much time.
Oh, no, no worries.
All right.
Loads of
Very
time
good
left.
demo. Appreciate it.
It
All right,
allows
thank
a
you
lot
very
of
much.
versatility. Allows a lot of versatility for those who wish to play with the system a little bit. You showed a lot of options and ways to get around things, tools that you've modified to do the undercuts, etc. All tips and tricks we can use. And I mean, Bob Moffat can't sit at the top of the birdhouse hill all year long. I mean, we got to take a shot somehow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you
Scott.
guys. You're welcome.
All right,
Much
folks, we're going.
appreciated.
We
And
have
let me add something in quickly on the jam chuck he was doing. The lesson learned from the class I took is if you're pushing it in on a jam chuck like that, that jam chuck is actually the best way to put anything, bowls and everything. But when you start putting it on there and it winds up being real tight, don't just drive it all the way in the first time. Push it in, let it sit for about 10 seconds before you finally seat it, because the wood will expand a little bit and less tendency of cracking. But if you jam it in immediately all the way down the first time, sometimes it'll crack on you if it's tight.
yes, wood moves, but it likes to move on its own speed.
Yeah, but if you put it in, give it 10 seconds, and then you can finish seating it. And even if it's tight, usually it won't crack on you. So
Yeah, thank you, Trace. And I got to throw another nickel on the table when we talk about that. Is that what he didn't do? I gotta remove the spotlight there. What he didn't do is burnish it on. And I've seen demos where they'll get close, they'll grab that piece and they'll push it on and burnish it on. Think about the amount of heat that comes out and which side gives up first. You know, all you're doing is pressing two pieces of wood and one of them's going to give up, one's not, and that's where the burnish occurs. So rather than burnish, trim it lightly like Scott did. If you get so close that you feel like there's a little bit of movement, a simple strip of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Wedge stock when you push it on there, just a simple strip. You don't have to do, I'm not talking wads and wads of paper towels. That's ridiculous. Just sometimes it's just that close. Do not, I'm telling you I've read about it twice. Do not use wax paper to do this. It didn't work out. I don't know why, it just didn't work out. But if you got an idea on how to do that or fit it, make it go a little bit better, share it with us.
Sometimes, Eddie, a little spritz of water will help swell that just enough.
Yeah, my boss tells me I can't tell people spit on it. I'm not supposed to say that. It's like the gross stretch. She was sitting there watching one of the demos one day, and I said, "You want to see what a sealer does to it? Just lick it." And
that's tongue oil. That's not spit.
Yeah, well,
that's tongue oil.
Yeah, it's homemade tongue oil.
T-O-U. Oh, you spell it differently. Okay. But I remember I worked in the cabinet shop. I went there when I was 12 years old, and a lady asked our best guy, how would you know how it looks finished? And he spit on it and smeared it out. I thought the woman was going to have a cowl with a hat right there. Oh, you could just see what he did, see what he did, see what he did. She went rushing out the door, and the guy said, just put some sealer on it. But we all have a way of showing things. All right, we're back to gallery now to 3 minutes after the top of the hour. Good evening, everybody. I'm Captain Eddie Castelin with the WorldwideWoodturners.org, the world's largest woodturning association. And we invite you to take part in our activities, be part of our club, get involved with tips and tricks. And I see some noise in the I see some chats in the chat tonight about Freedom Pens. Yes, we still do collect and distribute Freedom Pens. That's America's way, or the world's way of saying thank you to the troops who protect us. And if you'd like to be part of the program, there's details on it at our website, worldwidewoodturners.org, and we have all those details. But guess what else? On our website, we probably got the best gathering of wood turning minds in the whole world put on one little blurb on you. Put it on the home page of your computer, because when you think, wonder if I can get that, go look there. David Rose has found it and put it there. We've done a demo and it's there. We've done a chat and it's there. We've got a tips or trick and it's there. That's why we have that kind of wood turning site. It's awesome to see all this stuff. But I digress. I remind you that on April 24th, Martin Clarkson, before we do another demo or anything tonight, if Martin, he's in with us, he's in the UK, and I'm trying to pop him up, see if he's...
Yeah, I'm here, Eddie.
There he is. Hey, Martin.
Hi,
give me an update on your 13-hour project.
17-hour project.
Oh, I thought I was giving you a little tit up there. Okay.
No, 17 hours. The idea, and it's actually getting bigger and better, Eddie, because what I wanted to do was try and bring people together for a coffee while I was turning. But there's a couple of guys that have jumped on board and said, Martin, I'll help you out. I'll do an hour for you. So what we'll probably do is highlight them for an hour. I'll still be turning in the background because I'm sponsored for 17 hours constant turning. But there's a couple of guys jumping on and they're going to do some slots for me as well. So there'll be quite a few turners around, and there'll be guys there that will look after the chat and let people in and out as they want to. So really looking forward to it. It'll be a good time.
And this is
Yep. Hey Martin, I saw your message on Messenger, and yeah, I can do a short demo of some sort for an hour or two.
So Kade will be joining me. What I'll do is I'll put some information on the website of who's coming along, and we'll spotlight them for a couple of hours as well. So there'll be more than just me demonstrating now, even though I will be there the whole time turning. It'll just give you a couple of more people to look at. All the items that I make in the 17 hours will then get sold for Ukraine. But people are sponsoring me to turn for the 17 hours, like people walk from Land's End to John O'Groats Not that you guys will know where that is. But
down the street and around the corner.
yeah.
And Martin, how do we join?
I will drop you in that one. That's the link that will go to Turn for Ukraine. And as soon as I have done the Zoom link, it will be on that page. And then we're going to put a small box on there that will show it live. But for those that don't want to come along and join the Zoom meeting, but anybody that wants to join the Zoom meeting, there'll be an open Zoom link in exactly the same way as you join this meeting on a night. You'll just be able to click it, come along, and chat to each other, chat to me, even though I will be concentrating on what I'm doing. The structure will be that you can all just chat amongst yourselves and watch what I'm turning. And like I say, I'll highlight and spotlight a couple of other turners throughout the day, and they'll do some turning as well. So it's scheduled to be quite a good event.
Hey, Dave, can we put this on our website, add it to our calendar on there, and possibly put a link to it from the main page?
Absolutely, and there is a link on the main page already of the website.
Dave's always onto it.
For his demo? Okay.
Yep. Dave's onto it before I'm onto it. Your website is far superior. I don't know how you found this man, but he does a cracking job. I even tell my group on a night, go to Eddie Caspin's, because if you want to know anything about wood turning, it's on that website. It might take you a week to read it and a week to find it, but the information's there. Just look for it.
Martin, thank you for what you're doing for Ukraine.
Thank you.
Martin, I got to throw it my nickel on the table with that also. Thank you so much. And this is such a great program. Turners, this is not limited to what Martin is doing for Ukraine. It is not limited to what Martin's doing. It is not limited to any of that. It's not limited. We live in a whole new world. And it's a world of instant communication and instant gratification. And what we do can matter in other people's lives. Jump on board. You have an idea for a program like this? We want to know about it. We can help you with it. We've got the resources. We've got all the people. We've got the finest wood turners in the whole world. So we can find some things. So you interested? Let's follow Martin's trail. Martin is headed right up to the top of the stairs, and we need to be right with him. You got a program? Let's jump on board. Thank you, Martin. It's so great to you folks. And I'm waiting to see the rest of you would turn this jump on board. Now, Dane, do we have some gallery lined up, sir?
Yeah, let's see. We do.
I have to be away from Mike for a few moments to get my kids.
Go ahead.
All right.
All right. So let's see. We had Greg Bray and Tim Cook scheduled, but it looks like they dropped off of the program. So let's go to Billy Burt. Billy.
And yes, we have lighting.
There you go.
So since I've got light on me, I will show again the things I tried to show. The last time I was on, it didn't show up very well. And that's this ash, Arizona ash bowl with the curl in the sides.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
And I mean, and it, I love this thing, even with the cracks in it, you know, it's, yeah, it just adds character. I think it's really, really pretty. And then I had this, go ahead.
No, there's nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. And I had this little piece of oak and resin that I threw together, and it's got other resin inside of it. This was polyester resin shavings from pins I did years and years ago that I cast in the epoxy. But what do you do when you've got a weird shaped piece of Bradford pear that you're not really sure what you want to do, because it looks kind of like this before you cut it in two?
and it had a limb coming out of one place. So I cut it at the bandsaw. I cut it right here, and I turned this little limb into a vessel, and I left the bark stayed on miraculously. But I channeled my inner Phil Anderson, for any of you didn't know him, doing this one, because I was like, I just don't want to turn all of this thing away, because it was kind of weird looking like this, and I just didn't know what to do with it. And then I took the other piece and turned this out of it. Had a couple of bug holes in it. You can see one here. I left them open. You can see here, I left them open. There was actually a live critter in this one. I got rid of him. But that's what I've been up to lately when I'm not epoxying my tailstock and my banjo to my bedways. If you follow my Instagram or Facebook, you see what I was busy doing today. I was freeing a tailstock and a banjo, but I got it all cleaned up and waxed the bedways and waxed the bottom of the banjo and the bottom of the tailstock, and everything runs smooth now. So we're in good shape.
Did you get any into your scroll, Chuck? I mean, that's the important part. Did any resin get into your scroll? All right. No
resin in the resin in the chuck. So we're good there. I have if you've been following me very long, you noticed about 4 or 5 years ago, I was using CA to stabilize something, and I didn't want to take it out of the chuck because I didn't want to lose the registration. So I took it off the lathe and I set it on my workbench, and I stabilized this with some CA. It was pretty funky, and the CA ran through the wood into the chuck. So I had to soak that in acetone for about 3 days to be able to free it up enough so that I could clean it up.
Mercy.
Live and learn.
Yeah, one learns. My sidekick Ronnie learned how to do that. I didn't know where he learned it from, because went over to his house one day. He said, "Look, this thing doesn't work very well." Oh yeah, the CA worked really well in that log, and we discovered a lot about how to take those apart and put them back together, and they can all be done in your home shop.
Yep,
no special equipment.
Nice job, Billy.
And just enough wisdom not to do it again.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I'm looking for, speaking of which, if anybody has a good source for 1 1/4 by 8 bolt about 2 inches long, I'm in the market, because I'm not going to be doing resin fills over my bedways anymore. I'm going to screw the chuck onto 1 1/4 by 8 bolt if I can find one, and do that over at the workbench, so I don't have to worry about this.
Get you a tap and make it out of oak.
I suppose I could.
Yeah. I found mine at the local hardware store, not the big box store. I found it at the local hardware store.
Like Ace, maybe?
Yeah, just like that. Really, big box stores address a whole different line of people out there, and the old-fashioned hardware stores address the other kind, and we are the other kind. So if I can figure a way to get a hold of a piece like that you need, Billy, I know how to get a hold of you. I'll find it and send it to you. So
I appreciate it.
Cool beans.
All right, sir. What else we have on gallery tonight, Dane?
Well, let's go to Birdhouse Bob.
There he is. Uh-oh.
Hey, how you doing?
Say one thing and he runs away.
That does
Turn your
mute
video
myself.
back on.
Hey, Bob. Oh, let me do my video here.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Got a couple. You wouldn't believe it, but I got a couple birdhouses I did today.
Can't see
There's
Bob.
one that I did.
Oh, nice.
And then I've got
I love that roof.
Did this one.
That's Spectre
I've done this a while back, and I just put the rest of the parts together for it.
Very nice.
Got him a porch, huh?
I got this one I did.
I like that.
I love those roofs.
Yeah, those are cool.
Well, thank you. And this is a platter that I did a little while back that I thought turned out real nice.
Yeah, it sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that offset
I
side.
made it
Oh, well,
offset.
yeah, I love the offset. That is cool.
I made it offset, so I turned it from useful to useless. This was the, I don't know if you can see this or not. That's the ornament hanger that I use. And I put in the chat where I order them from Amazon, and I think I just looked it up. They're 120 for like $6.99, and people see those and they'll ask. They say, "Well, can I have that if I get the ornament?" I said, "Well, I guess so this time."
Added value.
For that
Look
price,
forward to that link, Bob. I like those a lot.
People seem to like them a
those are
lot,
nice
so,
hangers.
Yeah, I've made those out of like aluminum wire, and with needle nose pliers, pretty much nearly that same thing. But being able to buy them will save a lot of time.
Well, that's what I thought. I guess I was too lazy to make them myself. So
Yeah, it's really easy. You just cut off the wire and twist it.
when I could sit in my easy chair and just do a little swish on my phone and order them, have them delivered to me, I figured that was the way to
I
go.
was gonna say, hard to make them for that price.
Kind of hard to beat that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bob, how did you do that? The ruffle looking edge on the roofs?
I turned it round first, like round like this, and then I put beads all the way across it, and then I turned it this way and turned it this like this.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
I did that little piece. I was trying to learn how to do a bowl like that, and then I thought, well, I just did a little piece to see in case it didn't work out, and I thought, well, I can use that for a birdhouse reef. So I did.
There you go.
I love that.
Well, you've inspired me, Bob. So thanks.
Oh, okay. But, that's what I got.
All right.
Once again, beautiful work, Bob. Beautiful work.
Thank you. It's fun to do. I enjoyed the demo tonight too. That was a good demo.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Bob, you said you put that link in the chat. I don't see a link. I see a description, but not a
It's
link.
a description. It's a description. It's not a link. I just searched because I put that on there before I looked it up. So
Okay. I've been.
I just went to Amazon and typed in ornament hangers and just scrolled down till I found it.
Okay. Hobby Lobby has had them too in the past, and I bought them from them. That's the ones I use too.
Yeah, at Christmas they cut down the price of those things to next to nothing.
I had to went to Hobby Lobby. I had to get out of my easy chair.
I just put the link in the chat.
Thanks,
Hobby
Tom.
Hobby Lobby has an app too, you guys.
Yeah. No, this is the Amazon link.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Tom.
So I made another scoop, but I tricked it up a little bit, put a little crankshaft embellishment to it. And
That's pretty cool.
I can't believe
You
that
just need a little
stays
challenge,
together
right,
when you're turning
Dane?
it.
one at a time, please.
Yeah.
Sorry. I said you just
I
needed a
think
little
that'd
bit of
make
a
a good demo.
challenge.
Yes, just a little bit of a challenge. And I turned, so all the off center turning was done with the oval skew, and there's no sanding on it.
So
How
my
do you
back
keep it
feels after
together
freeing
when you're
that.
turning it? Man.
So as you start down the handle portion,
Yeah.
so one, you will want to set up you got your center point, and then you want to do your offsets for north, south, east, and west.
Okay.
And then as you start, so this is the spoon end or the scoop end. And so how I do it is I figure out how many, so I got my four zones. And so I divide that up to get my even spacing for the four axes. And then you turn, or at least I do, I turn one section at a time. So I leave the bulk of the stock on back here towards the tailstock. And I work, you know, so I do my first offset, I do the first section. Okay. And then I do the next section for the next section.
Okay.
And then so once you get to the third section, you'll start getting a little bit of flex. And then by the time you get to the last section, you'll get a lot of flex. And so as long as so once it starts flexing, I just lessen up the tightness of the tailstock pushing in, the tailstock pressure, I lighten it up. And then by the time I get to the last section, the piece is just barely hanging in there. I mean, you can, when you stop the lathe, you can turn it by hand between the two centers. But as long as you got high speed, sharp tool, light cuts, the wood will just slice right off.
Man, they look beautiful. They are gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, so I got the idea of doing that. I'd never done the crankshaft like that, or that type, multi-axis turning like that specifically before. But Kade inspired me to add that embellishment to one. And then
Very
so with
cool.
that,
That's very nice.
and then so with the chucking method used in doing the scoops. So from there, I took a piece of olive wood and I made myself another pipe.
I like that wood.
Using the
That's
same method.
nice.
So all one piece.
That's very nice.
And then I embellished it with some Mojave green turquoise.
Yeah, I saw that one on Facebook. That's so cool.
I was just thinking you ought to make you a pipe with those off center steps in them.
Yeah, right. Other than the fact of drilling. So, yep, that's it. So the outside is finished and Parfix 3408.
Do you do anything special on the inside?
Take my time. You got to build the cake in it to treat the wood.
Yeah.
But no, nothing special. You know, turned it the same as.
How do you build the cake in it?
You fill it up with a quarter of your tobacco. You smoke it, set it aside, let it cure for a day.
Yeah.
Add a little bit more. Repeat. Let it sit for 24 hours. Start all over again.
Very
And
cool.
it takes about a month to get up to get the proper cure on it. Otherwise, if you don't, you'll ruin the inside and then the wood will burn through on you.
And that's why you got more than one pipe.
That's right. Right. That's why you rotate them as well. You know, you don't, not to have a pipe smoking glass, but you rotate your pipes. You don't smoke the same one every bowl or all day long or every day. So, but yep, that's what I got.
Beautiful work, sir. Thank you.
Here.
All right, who else do we have?
So up next, we've got Scott. Scott Taque.
Yep, I'm here. Got me, Dane.
I'm looking for you. Maybe
I'm
you
here,
bounced back to the
Dane.
top already.
Still here.
I see you.
So Dane was talking last week when he was making his scoops about making standoffs. So this is what I use. Use little nylon spacers that you can buy at your local hardware store. And they come all the way up to 1 inch. And I slip a piece of clear milk hose over them at whatever length you want it to be. You cut your milk hose. I use milk hose to clear so it doesn't make marks on my lighter colored woods. And you can make them whatever length you want by buying whatever length bolt you need. And if you can't find the length you want, you can always turn the nylon spacer on your lathe. So
Good idea.
Yeah.
Here's
You
one
calling-
on one of
You
my
say that's
pages.
milk hose?
That's milk hose. So they're 3/8 nylon spacers, and they fit the screw perfectly that you use to put in your chuck. The hole comes already pre-drilled, and that 3/8 spacer fits over the 3/8 milk hose ID, fits right over the top and slides on real nice.
Nice.
So Just,
Cool.
another idea for making standoffs.
Yep, good idea, Scott. Thank you.
That's all I got.
More tips and tricks from membership. That's what we're looking for.
All right. So let's go to Terry.
Yeah, I'm here. Got it.
Gotcha.
I didn't do a whole lot this week. Been doing other stuff, but together another one of the pedestal bowls that I've been made before. I can't hardly get it in there. It's pretty good size. It's about 18 inches tall. And the bowl itself is 10 inches in diameter. It's made out of ash. It's not finished. All I got is a sealer on it. I'll probably just set it as a green turning. The bowl I turned several weeks ago, and I've been letting it set. I turned the spindle, the pedestal today, and I'll let it set for a month or two to see what it's going to do before I do much more to it. But these are something, I've made quite a few of these, and they're really pretty simple to make. Instead of putting the bottom on a bowl, just put a little spigot on the bottom of it, and then a simple little pedestal. And I've made quite a few of those. And I'll tell you, if you go and set 10 nice bowls on a table and set one of these on there beside it, when people walk up, right there is where they're going to go. And those are the ones that I have sold, and mostly I give them away, but those are the ones that everybody grabs. They seem to have just more dominance on the table being up in the air. The pedestals, I don't know, about 12 inches, 14, something like that. And they're real easy to make. It's right at 11 inches. They're real easy to make, and they really attract attention. And in a month or two, I'll finish it and show it to you again. That's
Nice
all I
job.
really got. I didn't do much.
All right, thanks, Terry.
That's it's two parts. The pedestal and bowl are separate.
Yes, it's two parts. The bowl is cross grain, and the pedestal is end grain. It's a spindle. And then just put it together, cut it out, and drill the hole in it the same size as the little, I got like a 7/8 spigot on the bottom of it. It's only 3/4 of an inch long, and I just drilled down in there a little ways and put it on there. I'm careful with it because it's just stuck in there with interference fit. And I showed you the one a couple of weeks ago that I set out in the shop for a couple of weeks. It was that tight you couldn't move it, you couldn't hardly get it out. And I reached over and picked it up, and the bowl fell on the floor. So you gotta be careful till you're ready to glue it in there. It's like I say, it's all green wood, so we'll see how it moves around a little bit.
Great
Sounds
work.
good.
Thank you, Terry.
All right,
You're
let's go to the first shirt. Hey, Doug.
Hey,
Doug.
I'll grab the phone and head on over here. So if some of you are friends with me on Facebook and you saw me turning this one live, so again, just another bowl inside of a mostly undisturbed tree branch. And then, or I don't know, set it on end like that. And then it's a tree. And then turn it on this end. And now it's just weird art.
That's
cool. And then Easter's coming. So starting to make little Easter eggs. Made that one on its own stand. I'll probably make some free ones so my great nieces and nephews can go hide them. But that's what I got. While you got me, I got to give a big thank you again for all the pens I have received. I got some really, really nice purple ones that I had requested. So thank you very much for those. 3 different people. And of course I left the names at work. So now I can't remember. Sue, I know you sent me some. 2 other people sent me purple pens, very nice ones. And then somebody else sent me these really, really neat pens, all different. They did the, I refer to them as the cheater pens, where you kind of drill it out, take apart a big pen and stick them in there. But all different shapes, sizes. I took them over to the Air National Guard and they went nuts over them. So if the turner that made those is on here, please speak up. Those were so cool. They went over very, very well.
Was it
Okay.
Charlie
in defense-
Bundy?
In defense of that, we do not call them cheer pens.
Okay.
I'm chairman of the board for the organization. We like to call them
Frugal.
frugal. Yeah, that's a good
Frugal
one. That's what
pens.
we call them.
But
Yeah.
they just loved them. I walked across, like I said, from my Army area over to the air area. Said, hey, I got some more pens in. Who here hasn't gotten pens from me? Of course, they all lie and say they haven't gotten any. And but those ones went out. They went crazy over them. They were really, really neat looking.
Were there 11 of them?
Say again.
Were there 11 of them in a pouch
Yes.
from Minnesota?
There was one purple one, and then
Shaped
the rest.
like a bullet.
Say again.
Shaped like a bullet.
Some were shaped like bullets. One looked like a tiny little.
That's mine. That was mine. Charlie Bundy. Charlie Bundy.
Charlie Bundy. Okay. Thank you so much, Charlie, because I left the envelope at work and then I couldn't remember the name. So, but yeah, those went over like hotcakes. I also want to send out a reminder. I will not be in next week's meeting. I'll be down at Fort Huachuca signing my DD-214 and doing my final out processing next Wednesday. The following Saturday, the 23rd, for any of you that are friends with me on my wood turning Facebook page, if you want to tune in to my retirement ceremony, it'll be April 23rd at 10 a.m. Arizona time. And my son hopefully is going to be holding up the phone, and so I can say hi to all y'all while I'm standing up there. And thank you again for all the pens and all the support you guys have given the military since we started this club, and really even before that, because Eddie had that Freedom Pens thing going on way before we started this. He just sort of roped me into it when we started this thing again, and I'm very happy that he did. So
Doug, thank you for your service.
Oh, appreciate it.
Once you retire out, are you still going to do the Freedom Pen handing out things?
I can. I won't be down there as much, but I will still be very active with the National Guard here in Arizona. So I'll still have my contacts that I can drop them off to.
That'll work for me. Thank you, Doug. Great seeing you tonight.
Thank you. Good seeing you all too.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Let's go to Glenn. Glenn, what's happening?
Okay, well, I just have, I've got a birdhouse I had turned a couple of months ago. Made this one for my daughter, and it's out of zebra wood, and the finial's out of blackwood, and then the roof is out of maple. But you can kind of see the texture in the wood. When I was turning it, I had this end in the headstock, and as I was turning, it was thin here, and so it started to chatter. So I just left it like that for the texture in the roof. So
yep,
it's a feature.
Very nice. I love it.
Very nice. That's cool.
That's really nice.
When's your daughter get the birdhouse? When does your daughter get it?
Oh, I gave it to her for Christmas, but I was at her apartment today, so I brought it back so I could show it.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Nice.
That's it.
Very nice.
All right, let's go to Kade.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hope all is well. I had a demo on the weekend, and this is the piece I turned in the demo. It's a Asian-inspired box with a brass finial. The other ones I showed were aluminum finials. It's dyed with chestnut spirit stains, black. So that was fun. I got a couple urns here that I got engraved and got all finished, and they're shiny now, so I'll show these. So here's one, here's the engraving. And at the bottom it says, beloved husband, father, and grandfather, forever missed. The body of this urn is curly figured walnut.
Ooh.
Gorgeous. Beautiful, Kade.
The lid is bird's eye maple. You can see the bird's eye. And then the finial is carigana, which is also known as Siberian pea shrub. Farmers use it in between the fields and around the farmhouse as a windbreaker as the wind gets blowing across the prairies. So that's the natural color of that wood. The heartwood is a purple with red and brown streaks. And the sapwood is a very bright neon yellow. So that's all natural colors. Nothing's dyed. So that's one urn.
What was the name of the wood again?
Carigana.
Carigana.
Or it's also known as Siberian pea shrub. It grows these tiny little green pea pods on it, and you can actually eat them. People put them in their salads and stuff. I remember running through the bush making forts and stuff, and my cousins and I would eat these little peas, pea pods. Good thing they weren't poisonous because we didn't know at the time until afterwards. But yeah, they were pretty good. So I had another one here. Now this one is brown maple for the urn. This one is also engraved. And at the bottom it says, beloved husband, father, and grandfather, forever missed. Now he was a woodworker and he was into trees. So I did 2 oak leaves at the bottom to sort of frame in the urn. He was also in law enforcement, so I did a inlay on the top. I indexed it and I did a 5-star inlay to represent the 5 points of a sheriff badge. He worked for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police for many years. The lid is roasted ash. We can see the grain patterning in there. Really makes that aluminum pop. And the eternal flame finial, again, is carigana or Siberian pea shrub.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a unique wood.
So
That's
it's
just
nice
beautiful.
stuff. And there's the inside.
Nice job.
1/8 of an inch wall thickness. So this urn will hold a 180-pound person. And in comparison to size, the smaller walnut one will hold a 120-pound person.
And then they
And
just
that's
epoxy them. Need to. Do they
Pardon?
how do they epoxy them to seal them?
Yes, the lids will be epoxied on. The lids will be epoxied on to seal them, and then they'll be buried. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, they are beautiful, Kade. Beautiful. Yeah.
That eternal flame concept is really neat.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good job.
Yeah. I harvested a lot of this wood with my grandfather before he passed away. And his urn was similar, black walnut. Actually, no, his urn was butternut with a bird's eye maple lid and the carigana that we actually harvested together off the family farm. So some significance there.
When you get a chance, could you put that type of wood in the chat? I can't spell very well, and I'm having trouble hearing the difference of what you're saying. So could you just put it in the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Caragana. but I'll put it in the chat so you can easily just copy and paste it.
Sounds like one of those discount auto things you can buy a car online.
There it is. Thanks, Matt. Also known as Siberian pea tree or pea shrub. So I need to move these off my lathe so they don't get banged off. And I have a tip. I'll show you a tip. Because I already have it set up on my lathe here.
Oh, P. Oh, P, not T.
Where else in this world can you go and learn about Siberian pea shrub? Really? Oh.
I might have a picture that I can show it in log form.
That's fascinating. I never knew such a wood existed until just now. So very cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll find it and I'll show it next week. So I have a tip. Now, if you're ever turning a long, skinny spindle like this, where it's hollow on either end, one thing you can do is, if you don't have you can turn a thin piece of aluminum to a point and stick it in your spigot jaw or any soft metal for that matter. But one thing I do, since I have these handy next to my lathe anyway, is take a pencil. There we are. Stick your pencil in your spigot jaws. And what we can do with that is we take this end, we put that on there. The other end comes to our live center cone. I'll just mount this on my lathe quickly. I don't want to do it one-handed and split it. There we are. And now we can turn this between centers. The pencil is going to center it perfectly within the hole that I drilled. My live center cone will also center it perfectly centered. Now I can turn this and I can sand it just with tailstock pressure.
Make a nice flute.
Yep, this is actually a pipe stem for a pipe I'm working on.
Ah, cool.
I had, it's a peace pipe. I got a commission from one of the local chiefs at one of the local reserves. So he wants a traditional peace pipe. Now, traditional peace pipes were made out of ash, and that's what this is. The stem is ash. This will fit into the pipe stem that's already in place, multi-access coming from the pipe bowl. And then this is where the mouthpiece is. Now the mouthpiece is going to be deer antler, similar to this one here. So here's the mouthpiece. You can see here. Now this is white-tailed deer antler, which was turned, buffed, drilled hollow, and it's got a mortise and tenon joint that connects it to the stem. And then the bowl, which was also multi-access turn. Here it is here. So we have our inside, we have our base. This so it can sit flat on the table when they fill it. And then this fits together in here like this. There we are.
That's the bowl is made from wood.
Yes, the bowl is ash.
Okay, thank you.
Traditional peace pipes were made out of ash.
That's beautiful, Kade.
I've made some from soapstone and from actual Minnesota pipestone also, right off the res.
Yeah, you can make them off stone. They make them off stone. They make them out of many different things, but traditionally they were made with ash because it was easier to carve than the stone.
Right.
But you can make them really out of anything. So
Both the soapstone and pipestone, the red pipestone can be turned. They're softer than our tools.
yep, I've made them out of soapstone as well. I've made some out of alabaster. I've made some out of onyx, which you can
Yep.
mount on your lathe as well.
Very cool. Very cool.
Never knew that.
What else? Alabaster, you can mount on your lathe
Alabaster's.
as well.
I've seen some incredible pieces turned from alabaster. Who was it who was making alabaster bowls and like putting walnut on the edge and alabaster bowl? Somebody was doing that a while back.
Yeah,
That doesn't
there's
matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
There's a
Hey,
guy
what are the
I know,
dimensions?
he's part of one of our clubs up here in Canada. His name's Yogi, and he's really well known. He turns a lot of sculptural type turnings, and he uses alabaster that he's acquired from all over the world, and then incorporates it mixed media with woods as well. So it turns out really cool. You should look him up. Jogi. He's on Instagram.
Cool.
Kade,
Thanks.
what are the dimensions of that pipe?
The dimensions of this pipe, I don't know. Let me see. It's over a foot long. So let me see the bowl. The outer diameter of the bowl is 2 inches. The inner diameter of the bowl is 1 5/16. And the length of the overall pipe, 14 inches long. And they like them longer than a foot because the longer the stem, the longer the pipe, it has a cooling effect with the smoke. So it's a much cooler, less harsh smoke when you inhale. If you really do very short pipes, the smoke is still hot and it can actually damage your lungs, turn your lungs leather-like with the heat of the smoke. So it's better to have a cooler smoke than a much hotter smoke.
You're not supposed to inhale a pipe anyway.
No,
Right.
that's true. Yeah.
But I think we all do.
Yeah, some people do, or at least minimal amounts of it. Eventually, some people inhale. So, yeah, I've made quite a few out of many different materials. Red oak, maple, ash. I steer clear of walnut because of the toxins within it. Same with cedar. And rosewoods, they have toxins within them as well. So you don't want to smoke that, or anything with spalted or fungus. You don't want those spores being smoked and inhaled. But I find fruit woods are very nice for pipes, like apple. Cherry is okay, but it's a little soft. I would go with the harder fruit woods like apple, pear, peach, lemon, lime. Yep.
Okay, what else is on the lathe tonight?
Nothing else is on my lathe actually right now. No, that's it.
We got all caught up with them. Thank you, bud. Take care of that baby.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kate.
It looks like Dean Rhymes.
Well, hey there.
Made it in.
I did make it tonight, late, but I did make it. And so the other day or the other night, I turned a little ring bowl.
Yeah, I saw that.
Piece of wood. And if you'll notice that little bead on the bottom, that's the tenon. So I finished the bottom completely, turn this around, put that in the chuck, this fit close enough so that you didn't get marring on the tenon once you put it in the chuck. So then I turned it around, and this is turned out of one piece of wood. Put the video up this morning. And that way a lady can come in, she can put her ring on there, and then she's got room around there. If she's got earrings or necklaces or whatever, she can lay that on there as well. Some of the comments that I have already seen is, well, this, won't that break off? Well, even the smallest portion up here is about 1/4 of an inch. And this outside lip here is just under 1/8. So I think we have more worries here than we do here, okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Watched you turn that. That was beautiful.
It's really nice, Dean.
Well, thank you.
Gorgeous. Very nice.
Nobody seems to like it.
Oh, bling, bling.
There you go.
What kind of wood
Thanks,
is that?
guys. This is mahogany. And I'm gonna, this has only got about 3 coats of antique oil on it. Just apply it, wipe it off. I'll continue to, this is gonna be for her, so I'll continue to put coats on there until we get a nice deep shine on it. And the deal with that is you just put a coat on, let it set a little bit, wipe it off, and you just continue to build it up slowly. And once it starts to shine, you'll just be able to see yourself in it.
Dean, is that what ring?
What's that?
Does that come with a new ring for your wife?
You know, she loaned me one of her rings to do it, but yeah, she
Nice way to sidestep that.
Yeah.
exactly.
You must be
Yeah, I went
within
out,
earshot.
after I finished it, I went in and said, honey, can I have one of your rings? And you know, you get that evil eye and why.
Yeah.
Well, after I brought the bowl in and showed her, she didn't mind so much.
Right on, Dean.
That's cool.
Thank you,
So
sir.
thanks,
Great.
guys.
No, I said video in a little bit. It's already posted up, right?
It is.
Right, I gotta, get a little time tonight to pop in and check it out. Oh, and our galleries that I showed tonight will be on 2 YouTube channels. It loads in about 15, 20 minutes. So it'll be up there in case you missed it. And we run those through our club YouTube channel. Then I'll put them on the club Facebook, my Facebook, anybody. And I do make them as best I can shareable. Now, I'm following what a couple of our members have told us to do. If we're still not getting them shareable, get back to me. Tell me what technical button or thing I didn't press. There's no secret to these. I want them getting around. I really do. And as we see on the chat tonight, a whole lot of responses to very favorable responses to what we show you from our members gallery. And it's critical to me. It's one of the most important reasons we get together is to show each other's work, share ideas about how we did and what we did. Look at that little ring tray that Dane just showed you a minute ago. I mean, that is a nice little project. If you go, I can't turn that. Yes, you can. It's not a challenge or a race. Just think it through. Look at all the steps and take the easy ones. Not the fast ones. Take the easy ones, and it'll get there. I mentioned. Pardon?
When I break a goblet stem, I make them into ring holders like that.
Really?
That's interesting.
Yep. So I get a cup and a ring holder out of it. I break the stem.
That's a redesign opportunity.
That's right.
It is.
Mine just might not be quite that thin.
That's okay. We're gonna have a starting point.
Yeah.
I mentioned a second ago about the chat before you leave tonight, as I'm doing right this exact moment. I'm going to go over on the chat block, 3 buttons, press it, save chat, and it's going to be saved on my computer. But have no fear, Worldwide Woodturners is here. If it's in our chat, it's going to be on our website. As soon as our webmaster puts it up there, just like Martin Clarkson said earlier this evening, David is ahead of us. What we just thought about putting on that website, David's already got it planned out, worked out, and probably programmed. He's waiting for the rest of us to catch up that we got this done. Martin's 17-hour demonstration is going to be on the 24th, and that's to help the folks in Ukraine. And if you'd like to be part of that program, support his program, do something, as we say for others, jump on board. Sponsorship information all is in our chat tonight. Be part of that team. It's a team that you created, folks. You created this. Our 22 pens is coming up for Memorial Day. And next week we'll do more. We have another great demonstration already lined up thanks to Dane Chandler. And we have another tips and tricks besides the 4 or 5 we got that weren't really programmed in tonight. I mean, we got, show how you hold this with a pencil and wow. Don't hold, we're not holding you back. You got it. Bring it on. We're ready to play. I'm Captain Eddie Castelin. It's right up on top of the witching hour. We're going to call it an evening. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for being here tonight and making my day very much worthwhile. I hope we made your evening a good investment. And we will be back, as I said, next week. The dinner bell has rung, according to Scott Hampton. See y'all next week.
Thanks, Eddie.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night.
Thanks, Eddie. Good night, everybody.
Everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Eddie.
Nice. Good night.
Night, everyone. Take care.
Remember to save the chat.